clerk, and she
This
said
is it.
this line, this line, and this line, so we went back to Stewart, said it again. So that, just all the extra verbiage that was in there that made bind, like the arbitration agreement, the 1% after 30 days per month, that we would have cut that out. We don't need a big, we didn't need all that in there, we're just a small, I mean, we're not a conglomerate corporate company, we're just, you know, a municipal government.
I don't think we really need them right now. Or national things and one.
Well, basically, the way it reads now is he collects if we collect. He gets us grant money.
It's a success fee.
It's a
Yeah.
success fee, and that was the first cut.
Okay,
Let's
but
do
we
it.
still, I haven't went over this one that she just gave me, the traveling fees and, lodging and all that.
If
You know, whether he gets anything or not, then we have to pay that, right? The way I read the last time they gave it to me.
Yeah, he still has expenses in
Okay,
there.
so even at that rate, it could be quite expensive for the city, I think. It's something we really need to think about before we sign anything.
Well, that's what we need to do. That's what we really need to do. It's so we'll know next Thursday how we're gonna go. This is a success fee only, and the way I understand the out-of-pocket expenses is he won't be paid until it's approved by the council,
Right.
is what I said here
Yeah.
in part two. I mean, if he said, okay, I'm fixing to go to wherever, fly to Washington, which he does on a regular basis, and try to get this or this, or, you know.
Isn't it, doesn't he get permission ahead of time before he goes to his expenses?
Yeah, he's not gonna go run up
Is it in
$2,500
here, is it in here
worth.
somewhere, or not? I thought it was in that other one, but I didn't, just glancing over it, I didn't see it here. That he would get permission ahead of time is what I thought.
It's supposed to be, maybe, and with all Stewart's cutting, let's make sure he didn't cut that out, because
Well,
he's done
that's-
some cutting and pasting. I don't
He's
have all the
basically made it to
contract.
work in the 30-day thing to where we have to pay. He won't receive anything until we receive it.
Right, yeah, I understand that, but I just want to make sure that we're not having him flying to Washington every.
He's not gonna do that without our permission.
Well, does it say that in the agreement though? I thought it was in
I'm
that other
trying to
one.
find it now.
It's in that, if you look in, number 2, midway, it'll say client shall also be responsible for paying SC&A's reasonably incurred out-of-pocket expenses incurred on behalf of the client in its representation herein, which are contingent on receiving the grant or loan and subject to review and approval by the council. SC&A and client may, in circumstances where expenses cannot be contingent on receiving an award, agree to waive the contingency fee, but any such agreement must be reduced to writing and approved by the council for the client. It goes on to say a statement of out-of-pocket expenses, whether contingent expenses or expenses subject to written agreement as aforesaid, shall be presented by the client to the client by SC&A at the end of each month for expenses incurred during the preceding months. Such out-of-pocket expenses as approved by the client for travel-related expenses or any other expenses and charges, included but not limited to business meals, conference calls, and transportation, shall be billed at cost. Or we'll be paying whatever his costs are. But it says that we shall be responsible for paying the reasonably incurred out-of-pocket expenses. It says something about, it says it's contingent on actually receiving.
It doesn't say prior approval though, does it? I mean, I don't.
No, I didn't say prior approval, it just goes on to say that,
Shouldn't it? Should that be in there though?
It
It
goes
was
on.
in there previously.
That's
I think
what I
he,
thought.
I think he cut it out accidentally. He can put, because he done some cutting and pasting.
Yeah,
I'll put that in.
we'd have to,
I seriously doubt Braxton Council is gonna fly to Washington DC just for the city of Citronelle.
yeah, I find that,
Well,
If he goes to Washington DC, he's probably got 5 or 6
They work for
clients.
other
he's
people, we
working
just
for.
want the verbiage right. I mean, he's already doing it
Yeah.
for utility board, so that's the reason.
well,
they
I
put it
understand
in.
that, but like I said, it was in the previous agreement.
It needs to be in there now.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I thought.
yeah. I don't have a problem as long as we're not paying a monthly fee.
right,
No,
I mean, that's what you don't want to get into.
I feel like he can get us some grant money though, you know, and us not have to incur a monthly cost.
But we need to sit down and, figure out what kind of grant money that we want him to go after. And not just,
Well,
Yeah.
that's when I think he told us to give him a wish list and he said
Right,
concentrate on the fire truck first.
right,
And he just got the county a helicopter, I know that. So,
well, we don't need one of them. Well,
I'm sure you
we'll
would
take
like
the
to fly
second
from here out
best
to the
first
lake and take
truck.
them.
Police cars, fire
Well, I'll
trucks.
figure out how to drive it, Loretta, I can fly us down to the municipalities then, if we get it big enough.
Yeah, but among the top 5 should be the sewage, the drainage system.
Absolutely.
Should be, if not the number 1, it should certainly be in the top 5.
I say fire truck and drainage should be top from police cars, maybe.
And what we do have to watch for is, we don't need him getting a grant that we would have to match the funds.
That's right, I mean, if you figured he got a matching fund grant at a 15% added cost,
Yeah.
I mean,
If
that's
we don't
really-
accept the grant, there's no,
It doesn't say whether we accept it or not, it just says if he gets it, that's a success fee.
I think if you go on in there, that's based on if the city accepts the grant.
Yeah, well, I would think we'd know
It
that
says
beforehand.
equal to 15% on any and all grants awarded to the client due to the work. It doesn't say specific grants, it says any and all grants. So I'd have to think that with that wording, it would be any and all grants, whether they be matching funds or what.
You would hope he would call down here and talk with the mayor and say, look, I got a line on this type of grant, are y'all interested in us pursuing it?
He's not
Well,
gonna
I
get
tell
it.
you what we should do is put an exclusion in here that it should be outlined under the direction of the city of Citronelle. Shouldn't be, he should be free-handed to go on what he wants to go on, under the direction of the city council and the city of Citronelle.
Well, and that, and not only that, if it is available and if we can get it, what is the grant going to be? What is it going to be based on? If it's a matching fund grant,
And
we
if
may
y'all
not
want the
be able to
grant,
get
he
it.
don't go get it.
That's right.
And we should convey to him, I would think, that, you know, what our priorities are.
And that's what he said about the wish list. I think
Right,
he needed to
yeah,
see
he
that.
did say that.
Yeah, he did say it.
That way he ain't out there chasing after every grant,
Right.
and we paying for every grant.
You know, he's been successful for one of our entities.
Oh, he has, very successful.
But he gets paid good, let me tell you. I sit on that board, only one. And that's what I wanna make sure that we can afford somebody like that. And, if it's gonna be, you know, I don't know how we can be sure of that, but I just wanna make sure that just cause he does it for the utility board, it's not, maybe not necessarily what we need here. As far as expense wise. I was just concerned about the, I know he's not gonna drive to Washington, and I know airline,
Well, I mean,
and
I think his
lodging
incentive
and-
is this is what he does for a living.
Right.
So he's saying, if I can get you something, you know,
Yeah.
my incentive is to go get it is 15% of what I get.
Yeah.
If I get you
Yeah.
250,000 or 100,000, I want 15,000.